Okay, can I see some hands? Who here knows that company called DHL? Thank you. So this takes 10 minutes of my presentation, and I don't have to introduce DHL, so that saves some time. Never overestimate your customers. This is a very important message, which I'm always using towards all of our salespeople. If you use market intelligence data, or during your sales pitch, never overestimate your customers. But that is something with what a lot of salespeople actually do. And in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to give you a speed course in how to be a DHL salesperson. So after this presentation, you're all certified salespeople, and you can go out and sell for DHL Express. Which is actually a really good thing to do. It's actually something which you want. First of all, because this morning we got the news that we are the number 6th best place to work globally. So that's a round of applause. Yeah. It's actually Salesforce who is still on number 1, but we are slowly getting up there as well. But today it's a very exciting time to be a salesperson. And that all has to do with that e-commerce boom. And I think I don't have to convince you how fast e-commerce is growing. But if you look at cross-border e-commerce, cross-border e-commerce nowadays is growing with twice the speed as domestic. You have emerging markets who are growing with 25% year over year. And that brings a lot of opportunities for all those merchants out there who are perhaps successful in their domestic market, but you have the opportunity to really scale their business cross-border. And that is something where DHL Express can play a crucial role. And it was actually Jack Ma, I think it was 2 weeks ago in an interview, he said, within the next 5 to 10 years, 80% of global trade will be cross-border, and 80% of global trade will be e-commerce. And that is how big that opportunity is. And if you look in the middle, consumer behavior is changing. And that sounds like something simple, something basic, but it's true. In the age of immediacy, as it's here on the slide, consumers want their product now. Actually, they want their product yesterday. And if you look at some stats, 68% of millennials, they actually choose a retailer over another, purely based on the delivery options which are offered. Hey, Falco. My friend, Falco. But a lot of merchants out there, they are not yet looking at shipping and delivery or looking at a company as DHL in that kind of way. They see shipping as that cost center, that necessity to get the products out of the door, etc. But more than just product and pricing, delivery and delivery choices plays a crucial role in a brand success. And that's not just us saying it. There are tons of studies out there who are showing how consumers are actually looking at a website. 91% of consumers is actually looking for the shipping and delivery options before reaching the checkout. But if you look at a standard online website, it's always hidden somewhere on the page. You need to scroll down for 10 minutes and watch all beautiful pictures, etc., to go to the footer of the page. Then you need to click a button, and then you can see the shipping and delivery options. But consumers want that information as quickly as possible. And that is something where you can really help merchants to optimize their website. And after this presentation, you, as certified DHL salespeople, can go out there and spread the message. Which movie is this, by the way? I have no prizes. Wolf of Wall Street, indeed. I love the movie. But if we were about to approach that e-commerce market in that old way of selling, we will not be successful. And the typical sales conversation of DHL was always, dear Mr. Customer, how many boxes do you ship? Which competitor are you using? What are your pain points? And then explaining how DHL, of course, can do it much, much better. That was like the standard sales conversation. And I think for a lot of other industries, that is still the sales conversation. You ask about the current situation, you ask about the pain points, and then you talk about your solution. But we needed a different way to approach that market. Because we strongly believe in all those facts which I just showed you, how important those shipping and delivery options are. But if we were approaching customers with that story, we would not be successful. And that is where Similarweb came in the picture. It started in the UK, we have some of the UK people here as well. It started in the UK, and we use Similarweb, indeed, as Shira mentioned, in a slightly different kind of way as most of you. Because we really use it to, first of all, look for leads, look for potential customers, and then really showing the customers how we can help them grow their business. And I will show it to you in a very simple way. If you, one of the main sections we are using in Similarweb is that geography split. And this is the geography split of the website douchebags.com. It's a brilliant company, by the way, a Danish company, really. And I didn't come up with the name, douchebags. I once had a meeting with them. They said, Leendert, you have a meeting with douchebags? So I was like, oh, what? But we look at their geography split. And then we also check if that company is already selling to that country. And if they already have shipping and delivery options to that country. And then, how we approach the customer, we do a very simple calculation. So let's imagine that douchebags was not yet selling to the US. But we see in Similarweb that 11.42% of their traffic is already coming from the US. It's going down a bit, most likely because the customers, those customers are not finding what they're looking for. But then we're going to start to do the calculation. So imagine that 11% represents 100,000 website visitors in total from the USA. Those are all potential sales which douchebags is currently not tapping into. If you then take an average conversion rate to sale in e-commerce of 2%, which is actually quite a low average. It's now 2.6, 2.7%, some countries even higher. So that 110,000 website visitors represent over 2,000 in potential sales, 2,200. Then we look at the product of the customer, douchebags in this case. They're making very fancy backpacks. And their average price is around 80, 90, 110 euro approximately. So we multiply that with the average basket value. So then you come to an estimated of 220,000 euros in sales. Of course, we want to make that number bigger, so we annualize it, 2.64 million. Then what we do, we analyze the website of the customer. Because as mentioned, and as you saw in the facts earlier, it's so important that it is clearly mentioned on the website that the customer is open for cross-border sales, that they're mentioning shipping and delivery options, that they're offering multiple delivery options, that their shipping rates are appropriate, etc. So we analyze the customer's website based on this checklist. So then, if we go to the customer, instead of saying, dear Mr. Customer, we are DHL, how many boxes do you ship, who are you using, blah, 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 blah. We actually now go to the customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, are you interested to increase your sales with 2.64 million? And we have the strategy how you can really tap into that potential. We hardly now ever get a no if we are approaching a prospect. And this is actually a customer meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago, a company called Sonos. They make very fancy speakers. This is one of our sales reps of the UK showing Similarweb data to the customer on his phone, explaining it, how we came up with the numbers. The customer is almost falling off his chair. And I think the last time that, or if you see a customer in a customer conversation looking like this, like, what the fuck? I'm allowed to use fuck on stage. Then you already, the customer is so engaged that in this meeting, we spoke for 2 hours. We didn't spoke about DHL, not a second. We didn't say we are in 221 countries. We didn't say we have 275 airplanes. We didn't say we are the most international company of the world. We even didn't have to promote DHL. but the customer just wanted to do business with us based on the insights we could give them with the support of Similarweb. Then if we have found a customer like that, we also go back to Similarweb and we look for similar sites. Because the opportunity that one of douchebag's competitors is having a similar kind of opportunity is quite big. So that is also something then, how we again use market intelligence insights to really grow our number of leads and grow our number of prospects. But if you want to drive such a change in your organization, that takes time. Which movie is this? Pulp Fiction, indeed. Pulp Fiction. Because if you want to do a change like that in your organization, if you want to really shift the mindset of your salespeople from left to right, it's not an insulin shot which you just put in there at once and then everybody is engaged and everybody goes for it. Unfortunately not. I wish it was. Then I could just sit on the beach all day. But it's not. It takes time, it takes attention, and it takes a lot of focus. And you have the technology adoption curve. This is well-known. It's a well-known theory. That's also what we are seeing with DHL if we talk about the usage of market intelligence data within our company. You have the early adopters, and you have the innovators who immediately get it, who see the opportunity, and they go out straight away using the insights, they play with Similarweb, etc. And then you have the early majority, the late majority, etc. For those by the way, who are doing the math, like what's with the remaining 16%? The remaining 16% are just weird people. So let's not talk about them. And within DHL, we also had that technology adoption gap. Because salespeople are not marketeers. They are not data analysts. They're very good in talking, they're very good in selling. But if you give them a tool like Similarweb, a lot of them are a bit like nervous, like, yeah, I don't really get it, and what does it mean, and what does bounce rate mean, and what does the marketing mix, etc., what does it mean? So that is something where we worked very closely with Similarweb, where we got great support of Similarweb to really do that hand-holding. Like this girl crossing the street for the first time, she wants somebody to hold her hand when she crosses the street. And salespeople want the same if they want to use market intelligence data. As mentioned, we started a partnership also with Similarweb in the UK. We started small, and from there we scaled in a phased approach to slowly onboard more and more salespeople. Because if you're going to do this with a big bang, it's going to be a mess. And that is why we did a very phased approach. If you look at where we stand today with Similarweb, so we have in total now 465 users who are using the licensed version, so the pro version. We have over 1,200 people of DHL who are using the free version. We are having pro licenses in 91 different countries. Also in Madagascar. There is also one person in Madagascar who's also using a Similarweb license. We saw a 30% increase in sales opportunities. We saw, based on this new sales pitch, this new way of selling, we saw a reduction of 18% in days it took to close the sale. So where it was before, let's say, 35, 40 days to really have the first shipment in our hands. Also that number reduced because we are helping the customers to grow, and the customers are seeing that. Also the return of investment, if we look at the partnership of Similarweb, of course it is an investment, it can be a big investment, but I think this number, and this is actually a very careful number, is the proof that investing in market intelligence usage in your company does really, really, really pay off. And of course, it's nice then to have all these data and things, etc. But of course, what is then an example how we helped a customer to grow? A company called Gymshark, here, out of the UK. One of the salespeople in the UK, I'm not sure if he's actually already walked in the room. No, not yet. He's also joining us this afternoon. He met Gymshark, and at that time, Gymshark is doing fitness gear, fitness clothes, etc. It was already very popular in the UK, growing very hard. And via Similarweb, we found that they had a lot of traffic from different countries. But in the beginning, they were not interested. They were saying, no, I'm growing too hard, I have a very fancy car, no, I'm not interested, business is good, etc. But after some time, Gymshark said, okay, let's go global, let's put those multiple delivery options there, let's mention on my website that I'm open for international orders. Right now, this last year, they're the #1 fastest growing British private company from a sales perspective. They employ 300 people. Well, when we met them, they were still operating out of their garage. They saw a shopping cart increase of 70%. And overall now, 210% growth in sales. So with Similarweb, with the website health check, with that new sales approach, that is really how we are helping customers to grow. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I don't know about you, but the very first time that I heard the DHL story, I was like, shit, why didn't I think of using Similarweb like this? So thank you for spending some time and sharing that with us. Something else that I'm thinking about, and someone like you who spends so much time in understanding how market intelligence affects kind of the sales world, what do you see as the next phase, the future of market intelligence for DHL?
If you look at how we use it today, it's really about finding leads, finding the opportunity, and then creating the interest of the customer. I think I'm a big believer of really that consulting selling, which is a bit of a buzzword, but I think with market intelligence data, we can really also sit down with the customers, analyze their competitors, analyze their marketing strategy, and really, and then with market intelligence, really help them to grow even faster.
Awesome. I love it. Round of applause for Leendert.
Thank you.